What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing the film An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Quite the title, right? Straight, it tells you everything right there in the title. It's very direct. It's an angry black girl that created a monster. It's pretty much, essentially, the Frankenstein story told through the gaze of a teenage genius in an environment of drug dealers and gang members. Interesting premise right there. Written and directed by Bomani Story. This is his directorial debut, and I gotta say, it's quite the debut. The visual styling of it, the vibe, the feel, the look of it, it's dope. It's like, it's got an artistic feel to it. First of all, the Frankenstein story has always been a good story. That's why they have us read it in English classes and literature. It's always an interesting dynamic. What I like about this film, it comes from that perspective of just like, how would that look in the hood? Because the main character, the girl, the teenage genius, she looks at death as a disease. Not that a disease can cause death, but just death itself is a disease. She lost her mother, a drive-by shooting gone wrong, and so as a child, so that was her first experience with the disease called death. It affected the whole community through her eyes, and then her brother ends up brutally murdered. At this moment, even before then, she was looking for a way to cure the disease, which was death. So she finds her brother brutally murdered, and she takes it upon herself to, I'm bringing him back. I'm curing him of this disease right here and now. So she essentially creates the monster, who was her brother, who was dead, brought back to life. And we all know, if you're familiar with Frankenstein, we all know the best laid plans ain't always going to end up how you want them to end up. It gets tragic real fast. So you already know it's going to be a recipe for disaster in this community. With that being said, you know, it was well acted. It was a very interesting take. Like, I really like the angle they went with it. Like, you know, all of this confined to a small central area, the projects in the city. And so I was just like, man, this is really centralized story-wise, but it's dope. I wish it had a little bit more of a clear motive for the monster. I feel like with Frankenstein, based on the book that I read and like some of the movies that I've seen, I kind of like the take of Frankenstein a little bit more because I feel like he was a little bit more fleshed out. But within this context, it's kind of cool that we didn't really get to see a lot of the brother when he was alive, so he's coming in like a fresh monster, not reanimated from different parts of different people, but just like reanimated within himself. It was just kind of interesting, like, where's his anger coming from? Is he just angry just because he was murdered? He was taken down in his prime? Was he already violent? These kind of things come to the surface. Is it just an angry violence where I just got to kill everything and everybody, or what's really going on? But it was interesting to see, and it's always interesting to see how far the genius will go in the art of science and bring them back to life. What's the limit? I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm gonna let y'all figure it out. I'm glad I watched it though. It was good, it was dope, it was dynamic, and I'm looking forward to more from Bomani as a director and a filmmaker. I feel like this was a really good debut. I know the critics like it so far, and I enjoyed it. But forget all that. You want to know the smooth jazz review of An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster? Well, here it is. Oh, yeah. I'm giving An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster 3.5 saxophones out of 5. Yeah, it's a good time. I really liked that it was in the hood, though. I really like that angle. But yeah, man, Frankenstein in the hood. He could have called it that. He could have been like Frankenstein in the hood. Low key, that might get it more traction. Yo, you seen Frankenstein in the hood? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. But An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster is a hell of a title too. But if the sales end up slow, if the grosses are low, change the title. Be like Frankenstein in the hood, sign me up, man. Anyway. All right, peeps, that's my review of An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. If you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. How do you feel about the premise? How do you feel about Frankenstein as a story, period? Did you ever get into it? Did you ever enjoy it? I remember watching Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro. And I enjoyed that one. I was like, Robert De Niro as Frankenstein. I feel like that's one of his performances that's overlooked. Like, if you haven't seen that movie, check it out. It's like Robert De Niro as the monster. Interesting. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, we out of here.